Gentlemen, the truth about how to actually lose fat. I was probably just like you, skinny fat, addicted to eating frozen burritos in the microwave, playing a bunch of video games, no confidence with women, and no social skills whatsoever. I dealt with that for a very long time. Growing up, my family, we did not have the cleanest diet, and from that, I was actually a very round child. Kind of sucked, but that's the hand you're dealt with. As high school came around, I got into working out a little bit, but overall was just generally skinny fat. Had no muscular definition. My body was just kind of soft. My arms were a little bit skinny, but overall there was no real definition behind my muscle. There was fat. There's a lot of fat, no muscle built, and I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to get rid of that fat, build muscle, and actually build an aesthetic physique. Now, fast forward to today. I have built a physique I'm very proud of. I know how to get rid of fat extremely efficiently. I train for only 3 hours a week using a minimalist style approach. I have a beautiful girlfriend who also loves my physique, and I'm very proud of that. I am also incredibly confident. I love speaking to anyone, absolutely everybody, and it is my favorite thing now because I've become so social and confident because of the fact that I have done something difficult in developing my physique. If that is something you are struggling with, I am your guy. This video is going to give you a strategic approach, step by step, how to actually lose fat and get around the problem that you're probably facing right now. So I'm going to explain all of that. For you to understand this is part of a larger idea known as my minimalist training approach. This is a small pillar within a giant idea. So if that's something you're interested in, check out the first link in my description below. Give it a click. Take a look. That's the entire A to Z minimalist training program curated with everything you could possibly learn about this training style in which you can train for less than 3 hours a week and get effective results. Anyways, with that stuff out of the way, let's jump right in. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. I'm going to give you as much sauce as possible. There's not going to be much stimulation going on. I always let you know if you're brand new to this account, to this channel, there's not going to be a lot happening on the screen here. It's going to be me yapping. The best way to enjoy this is either with a cup of coffee, maybe you're eating breakfast, maybe you're at the gym, and you're just listening to this in a podcast format. So, with that being said, let's jump right in. Again, everything changed. I completely learned how to just get rid of fat, eviscerate fat, and get lean when I used this minimalist approach. Everything changed. Now, the core concept I really want to hit at for you to understand the ideal way to actually approach this is the high level idea. Move more, eat less. You already know that. You completely understand that. Now let's talk about the specifics of how you execute on this. First off, the truth about actually losing fat is it's not done with cardio. How many times have you seen the trope of the big guy who's going for a run on a treadmill, down in water, and he's like, oh, I just ran for an hour today. Awesome. I burned 300 calories today. It was great. That is the trope. That is the common thread. That is what everyone thinks losing fat is. In modern day society, you go to Walmart and you ask someone, hey, how do you lose fat? How do you get in shape? They always assume it's eating a bunch of salad. You know, you clean up your diet, sure. They assume it's eating a bunch of salad, and then they say, oh, you just get on the treadmill, you know, go for bike rides more, all that kind of stuff. That is a quick fix that doesn't actually have effective results. That is why most people do not know how to properly burn fat. So what we're going to be talking about today is called BMR, and I believe it's pronounced basal metabolic rate. Essentially, it's a core concept I'm going to teach you. This is the truth. This is everything you need to know. I'm going to teach you about how the body actually burns calories and how that actually equates to burning more fat. Because there's different methods, there's different processes that go on in your physiology that actually burns fat, not just calorie expenditure. I'm not talking just walking, I'm not talking just going for a run. That is a quick, small fix that doesn't actually improve the overall course of long-term benefit of losing fat. If you go for a run and you see on your calorie tracker, oh my gosh, I burned 300 calories today. Yeah, you only burn 300 calories that day. Most people end up eating that back anyways. You can have 2 Snickers bars and boom, just like that, you had 300 calories. So this is a concept about how to actually have a long-term calorie burn day by day that your body does on its own, effectively maximizing how much you expend outside of just your little cardio run. Cardio is good, there's usefulness for it, but there are other methods to actually burning fat, the strategic way, the real truth about it, that mainstream fitness does not understand. With that all being said, let's jump right into the sauce. First off, the whole concept of this video is about increasing our BMR. So how do we actually do that? I'm so glad you asked. Step number 1, build muscle. It's that easy. So the body has to expend a lot more calories to build muscle and maintain muscle. Muscle takes a ton of energy, takes a ton of calories to take care of. Making fat and building fat on your body doesn't take as much calories. It's basically you're just feeding it yourself, and it's got to be stored somewhere, right? But muscles expend more on the body. Having actual thick, dense muscle takes more energy to maintain. So we need to be resistance training in the gym to effectively build a body that burns more calories. So these two things go hand in hand. When you are doing cardio and running, you're not building muscle. You need to understand that cardiovascular training specifically does not build muscle. It builds the tiniest amount of resistance training because maybe your knees get a little bit stronger and other forms of cardio like that. Tiniest amount of resistance training, but you're not actually building muscle that expends more calories over a day-by-day basis. When you have muscle on your body, it expends more calories. So we need to be resistance training. If you need a breakdown of how to actually effectively resistance train, check out my channel. I have tons of videos on how to properly execute my style of minimalist training. Check out those videos. You can learn how to structure your routine for resistance training. But the core concept here is you need to start resistance training and building muscle. With that, we need to maximize our ability to build muscle as well. So we need to eat a lot of protein. Well, how much is a lot of protein? Fantastic question. A lot of protein is the equivalent of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. This is kind of becoming more mainstream media, but especially for us guys, if you really want to pack on muscle effectively, eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you weigh 160 pounds on a daily basis, you should be eating 160 grams of protein. So, sorry, I'm getting a call right now. I don't even know who it is, but we don't worry about that. We keep going. So with all that being said, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That means you got to be prioritizing eating chicken. You got to be prioritizing eating beef. Get some protein shakes in, dairy, fish, high quality protein sources, especially from animal proteins. That is one of the best ways to get a large amount of protein in a short time period. If you can get up to as high as possible the amount of protein you're intaking per day, you're actually going to expend more calories. Because here's the thing. When you eat more protein, this is another thing. This all goes hand in hand. This is like the truth of it. This is so phenomenal. Your body has to expend more calories to break down protein. So on top of the fact that you are feeding your muscles, you're building your muscles, your body has to expend more calories to also digest protein because protein takes a lot of energy to digest. Most people aren't thinking about this. They're thinking about, oh, I need to be eating my salads and eating less food overall because I have to expend more calories. You will effectively expend more calories because you have to digest, break down protein, and build muscle and maintain muscle. Those two things alone will be so effective over like a 3-month time period to burning fat and building an aesthetic physique way more than cardio and salads will do. So recognize that first off. Next, this is goated. This is a goated method. I call it the 10K steps mandatory per day. So 10,000 steps a day. It sounds like a lot. That's kind of the number people generally understand they should be aiming for. Here's a really simple way to break down getting 10,000 steps a day. Super simple, super effective. Check it out. Every single meal that you have, if you're having 3 meals a day, go for a 10-minute walk afterwards. If you work full time, you can still squeeze these in. I'll explain how. Once you're done with whatever you're eating, 5 minutes in one direction, 5 minutes back. The average American gets about anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 steps a day. With that being said, when you tack on 3 10-minute walks, that should add another anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 steps on top of that. You should easily get very close to 10,000 steps a day with this method. So each day, implement a short walk, 5 minutes in one direction, 5 minutes back. It's that simple. You literally put a timer on your iPhone, walk keep going, turn around, come back. 10 minutes walks. That is going to add on and get you so close to 10,000 steps a day, and you realize how easily attainable that is. On top of that, depending on your body weight, how big you are and how many steps you kind of take, if you're hitting about 10,000 steps, that can burn anywhere from like 250 extra calories to 300 extra calories, 350 if you're on like the bigger side. Adding in that extra cardio is a very low intensity cardio. Your body doesn't struggle much with it. There's numerous benefits to your mind, to your body, to digestion, like everything. Walking like that is so good for your health. Even if you're trying to put on muscle mass, walking is so good for you. Do some research on walking. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. But it's such a simple thing to implement too, the 10-minute walks. Add that into your daily basis. This will burn extra calories, especially since we're trying to burn fat. This will increase our calorie expenditure and overall our BMR. It's going to increase that as a total. So going for your 10,000 steps a day in tandem with putting on muscle, eating protein, and getting 10,000 steps a day is going to be phenomenal for helping you burn calories, cut fat effectively, and it's going to overall improve that physique. Last point to increasing your BMR. This one is so great. Pick up a sport. Pick up a sport, bro. Have a new hobby outside. It is fun. So I recently, within the past, I think about 4 months now, I started playing tennis with my buddies over the summertime. Life-changing, utterly life-changing. First off, not only is it a social activity, but on top of that, sports are so effective at cardio because it's enjoyable, it's fun. It's not like sitting on the treadmill, running in place and listening to your motivational David Goggins music. Like, awesome, okay? If you're in the David Goggins grind, there's time and place for that. Do that. I'm not telling you not to do that. But if you're trying to do this effectively over the long term, pick up a sport with your homies. It's great. It is so phenomenal for getting you in shape. It's actually life-changing. And more often than not, most guys, they will be down to play a sport with you. Like, maybe if your homies are like a little bit out of shape or you guys are kind of like gamers right now, if you just say, hey bro, like let's get together and play some basketball this week. Most guys will be like, yeah, let's play basketball, or let's do football for a little bit, or maybe we go for a hike or something. Like, pick up some sort of sport. For me, it's been tennis because that sport is intense. You burn so many calories. There's just this like mental and physical aspect to it that's just like, it's intense, and I love it so much, and that sport has helped me get into probably the best shape of my life right now while working borderline full-time and working on a business and having a girlfriend and trying to balance social life. I am doing all of this while getting into the best shape of my life. These things actually work, okay? So picking up a sport, phenomenal. And on top of that, most sports are free. You just gotta buy like some sort of equipment. Usually it's just a singular ball that you can play with your homies. Soccer is a phenomenal one. It's probably one of the best ones you could do because you have to sprint. Yeah, you gotta have a little bit more homies to do it, but it's still a phenomenal sport to pick up. Soccer's great. So that's kind of the last major point of increasing your BMR is all of those points, but sport specifically is very helpful for increasing your BMR. So do that. Now, last kind of overarching idea I want to talk about for strategically losing fat is going to be your diet. Diet is the most important thing, okay? If you are eating, it doesn't matter how much you work out, if you are eating way more food than you're actually expending, especially if it's low quality food, you are not going to get any progress. That is how you see those dudes who are in their middle age in the gym who you see for years. This is from my own experience. I've seen this one dude who I see him all the time in the gym for years, consistently grinding. His physique always looks the exact same. And I'm not trying to be a hater, but it's genuinely because probably his diet is terrible. He probably drinks on the weekends, he eats terrible food, and then just keeps shoveling down fast food, whatever, convenient food that doesn't improve his physique. And here's the thing, you can train as hard as you want, but you cannot out-train a bad diet. Everyone knows that. Your physique is made in the kitchen. It contributes to 80% of your results. So, with that being said, here's how we do our diet on easy mode. First off, you need to really, honestly, this is my biggest piece of advice, get chicken thighs or ground beef. That's the main source of protein I consume. I also do have protein shakes, so that's another thing. Get protein shakes in your diet, but chicken thighs and ground beef, they're so easy to make. Most of America, most of you guys have a air fryer. Start throwing that chicken in the air fryer. Track how much oil you're putting on there, throw it in the air fryer, and boom, you're gonna be golden. Chicken thighs are phenomenal. They taste great. They're so easy to make. It takes no effort. Get some taco seasoning, chicken thighs, throw it in the air fryer for 400 degrees for 13 minutes. I just gave you the entire sauce. It's that easy. They're cheap too. Throw it into the air fryer. Boom, you have chicken thighs that taste phenomenal, done in 13 minutes, okay? That's number one. Ground beef too. Ground beef is really good for you. There's tons of nutrients available. It's cheap as well. You throw it in the pan. It takes 7 minutes tops to cook ground beef. You just mash it down with a spoon and then throw taco seasoning on it. That easy. Season it however you want, but it takes that short to cook those high protein, high quality, high nutrient dense foods that are really good for you, and they're going to really contribute to you building a physique you're proud of. So that's diet on easy mode, beginning stage. Having good protein sources like that. Fish as well. I eat sardines a lot now, actually. Canned sardines, dirt cheap, high protein, full of omega-3 fatty acids or whatever that is. I don't even know the exact term for it, but fish is also a really good protein source and is cheap and good for you. Next thing, I like to just throw together Minute Maid rice, the protein sources I just told you about, and then some frozen veggies, and you can make a whole little meal. You can make 2 to 3 meals in about 15 minutes using this method. Throw your Minute Maid rice into the microwave, boom, that's done. Microwave some frozen veggies. It's not the highest quality form of veggies you can have, but it's gonna have some good nutrients in there. It's gonna help you feel full, and it's low in calories. So you throw that in there, boom, you pull out whatever frozen veggies you like. I like peas and carrots. I sometimes like the California blend of, other whatever stuff, but like throw that all together, boom, you have a bowl of chicken, rice, and veggies, and it tastes great because it's smothered in beautiful taco seasoning, and you're gonna get a lot of protein in. Also get a food scale so you can track how much grams of chicken is actually on your bowl or plate or whatever. Same thing for ground beef, have a scale. It's very helpful for tracking. Use MyFitnessPal, the app, to really go into the specifics of punching in numbers. I'll make a video about that if you guys really need help, but comment down below if you need help tracking. But that being said, that is the really simple way of making food. It takes 15 minutes to do that, and if you really want it to be hands-off, you just do the chicken in the air fryer, and then you microwave everything, and in 15 minutes, everything is done, and you have 2 meals. So simple. Then, only eat what you can track. So there's a caveat with that. Tracking your food. Again, I said use MyFitnessPal. That's very helpful for tracking food. There's other apps out there, whatever you're comfortable with. That's kind of the beginner one, MyFitnessPal. It's very helpful. I use it all the time. But only eat what you can track. The caveat here is you should do that to an extent. Some days, it's not always going to be reasonable to only eat food that you can track. So essentially consider that a cheat day. However many cheat days you want to have per week, do that. Maybe it's 1 time per week, Saturdays and Sundays, whatever that looks like. But only eat what you can track most of the time. Go for an 80-20 split. 80% of the time you're eating controlled foods that you can track the calories and protein intake. That way you can lose fat faster, and making sure you're eating in a slight calorie deficit. And that's gonna be the final point here, is eating in a calorie deficit. So track your food, eat high protein, do it on easy mode, because the meal ideas that I just gave you, those literally take, I'm telling you, 15 minutes. It's that easy. With all of that being said, increase your BMR with everything I told you before, and then eat clean on your diet 80% of the time. Watch the fat strategically melt off you so fast. Mainstream media does not follow these methods. Mainstream fitness does not follow these methods. Most people are not talking about the fact that eating a bunch of protein increases your BMR. Most people are not talking about the fact that having more muscle mass burns a ton more calories on a daily basis, because it requires so much more energy to maintain than getting on the treadmill, running, oh my gosh, I'm gonna eat salads when I get home, because that's not sustainable. Eating a bunch of salads and getting on the treadmill is not sustainable. You're gonna feel disgusting after a week and a half. This method is maintainable. And honestly, you can change up the actual diet portion to eat things you enjoy a lot more. If you do that, it becomes 10 times more sustainable. That's just stuff I really enjoy and I think is very easy for people to start implementing. But if you have different foods that you really enjoy, let's say you like Greek yogurt bowls, those are still really high in protein and take even less time to put together. That could be your main source of protein. It doesn't matter, just make it as easy as possible. Really stack on the muscle by training heavy. And again, check out my profile if you really need help on learning how to start training like that. But if you want the step-by-step A to Z broken down for you process, click the first link in the description below, joining the Minimalist Training Program. Now is the opportunity to become one of the founding members. Just take a look. If it's something you're interested in, you will get good results in there, phenomenal results. Everything I'm talking to you about here, imagine the amount of detail I could truly go into there. This is just a 19-minute video. In that program, you will find everything you need. Give it a look-see, click that link in the description. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Go take action on everything I've told you about here and achieve some greatness this week. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.